Howdy everyone, Jesus is Lord on a psalm for today. This week we explore Psalms for Uncertainty. There may come into your life a moment when you go, God, I don't understand. There may come into your lifetime when you say, God, I'm not certain about this one. And there may come times in our life when we say, God, I'm just totally confused. It's a homemade continuum today from I don't understand to I'm uncertain to I'm confused. When we come into these experiences where what we know and what we have known in the past don't provide answers for what we're facing today, it's unsettling. There are moments when our spirit gets a little unsettled. I'm thinking of Psalm 139. It says, Lord, search my heart and know my anxious thoughts. And while you're at it, see if there be in me any wicked way. The psalmist is expressing in that psalm, Psalm 139, this, Lord, I not only am I uncertain and not only am I a little confused, but I have anxiety about it. So there's emotions that go with these words, from I don't understand to I feel a little misunderstood, I feel confused, I'm uncertain. This week I want to help normalize feeling uncertain. God knows our frame. God knows what we know. He knows what we don't know. And I think God would often say, if I only knew what you knew, I would feel uncertain too. But I don't only know what you know. I think that God is way more comfortable with our doubts and our uncertainties than especially Pentecostal Christians give him credit for. Psalm 94 will be our text this week, and we're in verse 16 today. Who will rise up for me against the wicked? The psalmist asks. Who will take a stand for me against evildoers? The psalmist asks again. Verse 17, unless the Lord had given me help, I would soon have dwelt in the silence of death. Verse 18, when I said, my foot is slipping, your unfailing love, Lord, supported me. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. Today, I want to bring a normality to our questions. Who will rise up for me against the wicked? Who will take a stand for me against evildoers? I know it's poetry. At the same time, I know that we often experience questions. We maybe don't put them into words. Like I would say, I never question God. But in fact, that's not accurate. I don't question God with anger. I don't question God with malice or with disbelief. But I do question God from a moment of disappointment. My title is Psalms for Times of Uncertainty. And at times, say, God, this one doesn't make sense to me. Or, God, what I'm seeing right now, I'm not certain about this. And I think that the questions that rise out of those feelings, like, are you sure, God? Or, God, can you explain that one to me? Or will you give me insight into that one? Help me, Lord. I think that if we aren't careful, we become afraid to question. But when we're afraid to question, in a sense, it's a denial of what's really in our hearts. If you have a question in your heart, it's okay to ask God. Obviously, He knows our thoughts. But if you're going to talk with God and be authentic, say, God, I don't understand how this is rolling out. I don't understand what you're thinking about this. Lord, help me to get a broader view of perhaps your perspective. The psalmist says, "Who will rise up for me against the wicked?" In other words, the psalmist felt that nobody would stand up for him, or that nobody would rise to the occasion on his behalf. Maybe you've had times like that in your family, maybe times like that in your workplace, that you felt the wickedness was happening against you, but nobody rose up to champion your cause. One commentary said, like a champion. So who will rise up like a champion for you? Maybe you're going through a divorce and you feel like nobody's standing up for your perspective. Or maybe there's a financial injustice happening to you and you feel like nobody will stand up and represent your just cause. Maybe there's a health issue and you feel that you're not getting just care. Who will rise up and care for me in this sickness? Or who will rise up, care for me in age? Or who will rise up? And the psalmist goes on to say, unless the Lord had given me help, I wouldn't have survived. But no, I'm featuring today the psalmist's question. It's okay to question. In fact, it's good to question if you have a question. I remember a song, boy, I was young. Chris Christopherson, "Why me, Lord? What have I ever done?" And to just be able to ask a question, why me, Lord? In that song, it was very positive. Why me, Lord? What have I ever done to deserve your only son? Think about that question. God, of all the people on the planet, why did you let me hear the gospel? Of all the people that move hither and fro, why did you save me? And to become comfortable with asking God questions. This will help in the time of uncertainty, to know that God is not afraid of our question. God is not opposed to us asking questions. God is open. God is willing, and I think, in fact, enjoys us asking him details. So who will rise up and stand for me? Who will like David stood up for Israel against Goliath? Who will stand up for you against your Goliath? Or who will stand up for you against that challenge or that injustice or that foe or that difficulty? The psalmist goes on to say that obviously the Lord certainly stood up for him, but he does not deny that he had a season of uncertainty. So when you say, who will rise up for me against the wicked, you have the sense the psalmist did not yet know that it was going to be the Lord who stood up. Even though it's written after the fact, the psalmist is still presenting, I had some serious questions, but the Lord came through. How about we say it that way? And these people that say, "Oh, I've never doubted. I've just always," well, I don't think that's realistic. I think that we don't doubt in lack of faith, but I do think we doubt in like, are you sure? Or I'm uncertain, God. And I want to normalize that for you and for me. It's okay. And it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to have questions that remain unanswered. It's okay to have hope that's been delayed. It's okay to have disappointment with God and with others. It's okay. And as we look at Psalms for times of uncertainty, this would be a great week, those of you that watch regularly our conversation, to write down your questions, to just say, God, I have a few questions I'd like to understand. And in that process of asking questions, we are becoming more authentic. We are becoming more verbal in our emotions, more verbal in our standing, more verbal in our time, and saying, God, This is the authentic question I'd like to ask. Now, tomorrow might be a whole different question. Next year, it might be a whole different experience. But right now, in this time, here's the question I have. And in asking God your questions, the psalmist asked, who will stand up for me against the wicked? Maybe that's you. Lord, who's going to stand up for me in this? Who's going to defend me? Who's going to take up my cause? These are great questions, and God enjoys us asking our questions. And the reason we're asking is because we don't know. And when we don't know, we have a sense of uncertainty, and it's okay.